Welcome to Writer Talks, where you get to meet the authors who win the short story contests at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing and are featured in our international anthologies of short story writers that are published every year. The woman you're about to meet is extremely versatile in her writing and her talent, and she's making a powerful impact by writing and producing documentaries that showcase and expose information that we need to hear. Jill Yesko is director of Baxter World Media. She's based in Baltimore, Maryland, and her winning story was called A Murder in the Dog Park, which expanded into novella. And she has another novella called Dog Spelled Backwards, an Unholy Mystery, which is really wild. It's about a underground kidney theft ring. So, right away, she's got a very vivid imagination. And very importantly, she's done two documentaries. One is called Tainted Blood, the untold story of the 1984 Olympic blood doping scandal. And the second one came out last year, Broken Trust, athlete abuse exposed. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Broken Trust, Athlete Abuse Exposed. That is extremely timely. So welcome, Jill Yesko.
Hey, Elizabeth.
So happy that you're here. I love the versatility of what you're doing. And it looks like you are putting your passion for writing to really showcase a purpose, and that's to expose information that we need to see. Can you talk about your documentaries and what inspired you to do these topics?
Yeah, so the documentaries came out of a time when I was working a 9 to 5 job, actually more, an 8 to whatever time job. And I really wasn't able to do my writing. The job was all consuming. I was making money, but I was really bored. I had a successful career as a freelance feature writer. And, that industry had so changed. I used to write for a lot of magazines that don't exist anymore. So I had transitioned into sort of an allied field, and I was bored. So bored. I wanted to write, but I couldn't because the magazines were out of business. And I had written my books, and I thought, well, let me try filming a book trailer for them. I had learned some rudimentary shooting and editing skills as part of this job. And as soon as I made the trailer, I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. This is like what I was meant to do. This is like storytelling on steroids. So, I took one of the ideas that I had always wanted to turn into what in probably the 90s would have been maybe a 5,000 word expose article or even a book. And I turned that into a documentary. And that documentary became Tainted Blood, the untold story of the 1984 Olympic blood doping scandal. I was a competitive cyclist in the 1980s, and knew about this doping scandal. And after reading about Lance Armstrong and, seeing all the things that had been written about that, I thought, why has nobody done anything about this doping scandal? Am I the only one who remembers it? Mm-hmm. So that became the topic for my first foray into documentary film production. And it was amazing and exhausting and a wonderful learning curve.
I love
Available
it.
on Amazon Prime.
On Amazon Prime.
That's right.
Okay, excellent. So what impact did it have?
Within the cycling community, it actually had a fairly big impact. One of the reasons that it was a good time to make the documentary was because we have social media now. Let's say I had written this book in, say, 1990 or 1995, written a book about this. Social media is so pervasive now to every kind of promotion for your work that I really feel like it makes or breaks a project. So I was able to take this take the story of this film and, create a website and do a whole social media campaign that brought the film to the attention of people who might not ordinarily have come across it. I went on, just like you do a book tour, I arranged a tour for this film and went around the country and found new audiences and made connections. And it was really, really fun. The film is just about an hour long. So we screened it at a number of different venues, including in Los Angeles, which hosted the 1984 Olympics. And it was, of course, sort of a hometown, like a homecoming there. So that was great. Yeah, I would encourage, anybody in creative endeavor to really think about how they can, whatever platform they can put their film or their book or their poem out in, and don't worry that you might seem like too self-promoting. It is, for better or for worse, the way of the world now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just love that you're able to hopscotch over all these genres, novella, short story, documentaries. It's really amazing. Can you talk about your writing process? What do you have, like a structure, or do you just get inspired by a certain idea and just start writing? What's your writing process like?
So for the two novellas, I was, I never really liked, true crime, or never read a lot of mysteries, I have to say. And then I happened across A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and so that book's been out for what, 10 years now, maybe, or something.
Quite a while, yeah.
Quite a while. And I didn't even read it when it first came out. But I remember reading it and thinking, this book is so imperfect. It's so overwritten, but it is so compelling. I'm like, it showed me that writing doesn't have to be perfect to be popular, to pique your interest, for you to like it. And it kind of weirdly gave me the confidence to to write my books. So they were kind of, I would say they're a little bit of fan fiction, but they're also actually a little bit of memoir. Particularly, there's one character in the book, Lenny, and my mom read my books and she's like, why did you have to write about your brother? Like, she saw right through it. She was a little bit sad.
Oh
She
my
got it. I
gosh.
thought I know, isn't when your own mother busts you,
Oh
All
my
right,
gosh, you know
I'm
what?
laughing too much. I just want this to be a fun interview. It's not like my writing process. I did outline the books. I didn't just sit down there and like freestyle it. But I wanted the book to be kind of very tongue-in-cheek, almost like a comic book,
Oh.
because I think they pack it. They're short, but they pack a punch, and that was
Uh-huh.
my intention.
Mhm.
If anything, they're underwritten as opposed to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo that has like too much description. Like, when she's putting
Interesting.
together all that IKEA furniture, I'm like, what is that about?
Well, that's
Yeah.
funny. You know what? I conduct writing workshops and I'm a book coach, and people are always asking, how can I write about real people so nobody knows who they are?
Don't show it to your mother.
Right. I said anybody who knows the person is going to know who they are unless you radically change or just use parts of them. So that's
That's
funny.
the other part B to that. It's interesting that you've said that, is like, how do you disguise yourself? Because there are all these people who are like, oh, Jill, I didn't realize you were such a mean person. Like, they thought that like, there's a little bit of my main character, Jane, in me, of course. It was a little bit of a dark period for me. I wrote the books. But if you met me, you wouldn't be afraid of me. They're like, she's so unlikable. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with writing a main character that is unlikable. I mean, they can't be completely unlikable.
Uh-huh.
And you do see she resists change, but the change does happen to her by,
Mm.
I mean, I don't want to give away a spoiler alert, but love changes her a little bit.
Uh-huh.
She's still the same character, but
Mhm.
I am not Jane Ronson, my main character.
Oh, that's so interesting because people do think that your main character, especially if it's your first book, they think it's you.
Mm.
That is fascinating. Wow. So, what motivates you to write? Like, is it just a passion or is it that you just feel this drive? What is it?
Well, I did. Those books also came out of a time where I was frustrated and going through not a great period in my life, and
Hmm.
wanted to get some things down. I will say I'm not a journaler. I find journaling really tiresome, and uh, everyone's like, "Why don't you write stuff down?" I don't want to write it down. God forbid I'd have to reread it then, like I never kept a diary as a kid, even though my mom kept buying me diaries.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm like the worst. I would be like the worst person to write in seminar because I wouldn't like I don't like do any of that stuff.
At a writing seminar.
When you don't want to have
You're
in it.
like our mother wrote her memoir, and we're always saying, make an outline and do this, that. She just sat down and wrote her book. She said, I don't want to hear all your instructions. I'm just going to write. You're just like that, like a rebel, but you get it done.
I did. I made an outline for the book, and I was in a writing group, and we
Okay.
workshopped it. It wasn't just like off the cuff.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't plan it for five years. I also think that there is definitely a place for genre fiction, that shouldn't be something that people are ashamed of. And I had gone to this big writing workshop, and it was like kind of coming out of the closet. Everyone was writing, you know, like the great novel, and I'm like, genre fiction here, and I'm okay with it.
I love it. So what are you working on now, Jill?
So, I actually want to read a little bit of Murder in the Dog
Oh,
Park. Just
yes, please.
it makes
Yes.
me happy. I'm in this Facebook group. I'm like a little bit obsessed with social media right now, given everything, given that we're in COVID and my screen time, my phone is like, your screen time has increased by 600% this week. Like, I know it's COVID.
600%?
Not that high, but by a lot more than usually. Like, yeah, I've been home a lot, but I grew up just outside of New York City, and my mom is from New York, and there's a lot of New York in my New York affect
Uh-huh.
in my novellas. She's
Uh-huh.
just a tough girl, and I just want to read this little graph, um, give you a taste of Jane Ronson, which is actually based on some memories I have of New York in the 1970s. And this Facebook group I'm in is composed of, it's called New York in the 70s and 80s. And it's a lot of archival pictures and
Ooh.
memories. It was not, 70s were not a good time in New York, very gritty. So here's Jane Ronson arriving in New York from Baltimore. And she says, I fell asleep somewhere between Elizabeth and Jersey City. The air stank of chemicals and fetid swamps. My bus pulled into New York at 5 a.m. and disgorged its half-asleep passengers into the upper reaches of the Port Authority bus station. The enormous station looked like the set of a Fellini movie, with a cast of characters speaking in Brooklyn accents and overflowing with New York F-U attitudes. The station was coated with a thick layer of grime on top of filth.
Mm.
I stepped into a pile of fresh vomits spewed by a drunk sprawled on the stairwell. You got something for me, girlie? He muttered as I hurried by. I felt like I'd walked into a living, breathing Hieronymus Bosch painting. All the crazy people in the world had been shaken, stirred, and dropped into one roiling cesspool of humanity. It's subtle.
Oh, it's real though. Like the smells. I went to Colombia and one day I was walking through Times Square and my foot kind of was sticking to the sidewalk and I looked down and it was blood.
Yes, yes. New York was not a nice place. And she's just kind of, yeah, she's trying to escape her past and go to New
Oh,
York. And this is her first introduction. The Port Authority really was a crazy, crazy, scary place in the
uh-huh.
1970s.
I love though, like you write with us all the senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, and gut instinct or intuition. So I could feel all of that in your writing. Like you put me there. I love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's awesome. Isn't it fun to like select just the perfect word, like you said, feted, like just the perfect exact, like, and oh my gosh, cesspool. Those are such cool words.
It was. New York was terrible. It was like a Hieronymus Bosch painting in the Port Authority. Oh, Lord.
But you know what's another cool thing, Jill, is that as a writer, the more general knowledge base you have, like you understand painters and you understand, all of that just to sort of draw on while you're writing. And it's really awesome. Like you can't really prepare for that. You're able to just draw from it because you have this knowledge base built over a lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you for making me feel good about being 62. I appreciate it. No, it's true. There's a lot of I've been through a lot, and thank you for recognizing that I'm able to utilize that
Oh,
and to look
yes.
down. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
was talking to a young person a little while ago and I mentioned Katie Couric and they didn't know who it was.
Mm,
So it's really interesting that people's knowledge base today is so different by generation
yeah.
because, young people today have never used a rotary phone or, they text everything and it's fascinating. And so to be able to have that perspective that we have as we get older is just awesome as a writer because it's so multi-layered and textured. So that's awesome. And also the whole doping scandal of 1984, and then so many recent stories of lawsuits and exposés about athlete abuse, sexual abuse of gymnasts and, the different schools and the runners coming at the women runners coming out and talking about how they were fast, so timely what you're writing about. I love it. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. And I feel like, some stories really maybe are better as documentaries. There have been so many great books written about this topic, memoirs, and probably more to come.
Mhm.
Abigail Pesta is a journalist who wrote an excellent book called The Girls. But my aim in making Broken Trust was to interview athletes who had been sexually and emotionally abused, who were a little bit older, right? Who weren't maybe quite as raw as the testimonies that you saw from the Larry Nassar survivors,
Yeah.
people who had a little more perspective on that and who had gone on to become advocates for change. And I also had a male athlete in there, and I felt that was extremely important because sexual abuse doesn't just happen to women. It's a manifestation of inequity of power, unbalanced power. And athletes are particularly vulnerable to that, especially elite athletes. So I was looking for more of a broad range of perspectives in that. And I have to say, there's like, it's so great to talk about the novellas because they're fun and they're important, and you can read some other themes into it. But the films have been, especially the Broken Trust film, there's not I have to say, not a lot of chuckles in that. I mean, they're important, so it's nice to be brought back to something that really made me like very happy writing. And yeah, and I also want to add like the black market kidney ring
Oh
from
my gosh.
that was based on real incidents in Brooklyn. I didn't make any of that stuff up. I'd be like,
What?
it's good enough for Brooklyn. It can happen in Baltimore.
What?
That was all real. That was I read it's a book called The Jersey Sting, written by two New York Star Ledger journalists at the time. And they part of this massive sting operation uncovered a black market kidney ring that was operating in Brooklyn. So I pulled that and wove that into my novel.
So in the trailer, I saw the trailer on YouTube, and the trailer shows this cooler with kidneys in it. Is that what really happened?
I don't know if they were I can't remember if they were transporting them into in coolers, but the body parts do need to be kept chilled. I will.
Oh my gosh.
Those are actually we bought chicken livers for
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that, like where'd those kidneys come from?
I don't think I was actually trying to buy kidneys, like cow kidney. Maybe are they cow kidneys? I went to a butcher and got them. Yeah.
And then she dug her hand down in the slime. I was like, ew,
That
that
was
is so
that was
gross.
me because none of my
That
actors
was
would do it. And like, look, come on, watch and learn. One take. Actually, we did multiple
what?
takes of that.
Oh my gosh. But it looked like it had all the elements. Like there's the kiss in the alley, and the ladies dragged across the floor, and it looked quite suspenseful.
We had the star of the show was Ginger the bull. This makes me so happy. Ginger the bull terrier. Ginger's owner. We had auditioned bull terriers for that, and we got Ginger, and she was a good actress, And Ginger has since passed, and her
Oh.
owner. No, but Ginger is now immortalized in that trailer. Her owner is
Oh.
like so happy she gets to see Ginger. And
Oh.
ditto for Coco, and R.I.P. Coco from the prior trailer.
Oh, that's so sweet. The dog actors.
The dog actors, they say, never work with kids and dogs. Yes, only work with
Oh,
dogs. They're wonderful.
that's awesome. Wow. So, Jill, you also help companies with their social media and commercials and such, right?
I do. I produce commercials. I do trailers. I'm actually producing and directing another documentary now that was commissioned. Um, the executive producer saw Broken Trust, and um, this is a documentary called 1001 Cuts, and it is about the structural racism and sexism that exists in medicine. Excuse me, among women, that affects women surgeons. So we are conducting our interviews now, and that film should be ready later this summer. So again, it's another like not funny, like very very serious topic, and how that impacts patient care. But I would love to do some more book trailers, particularly maybe some. Yeah, it doesn't matter the genre, but I'd like to do something a little more light. Go back to do something a little more lighthearted. Like I was like, oh, my next project should be about like dog grooming or something. Oh, you know what, Elizabeth? Here's. Okay, can I just share? I know this is
Yeah,
like all over the place when I talk about
sure. I
the
love
process,
it.
but it's COVID. It's like year 2 of COVID. I'm starting to like really come unglued. Um, when we went into lockdown, I was remembering I had this hamster that I loved when I was a little girl, and on my Facebook feed, something popped up. It was like, the shelters got emptied of everyone adopted dogs, and all they had left were small animals. And the shelter was like, please adopt this hamster. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I have to have a hamster. I have to have a hamster. So I went out and I got a hamster. Now I have another one too. I'm
Oh,
obsessed with my hamsters.
oh.
And I'm not the only one. I have a colleague who is a composer for films. And when lockdown happened, I mean, she's also an adult. She went out and got 2 guinea pigs. So we're like, we should make a little short film about adult women who are obsessed with their rodents. So something like that might happen. I know it's crazy, but that's how my little like active mind works.
That would be so fun to watch.
It would be. I want it to be like totally fun.
So my mother loves to feed the squirrels and the birds, and she puts crackers out and stuff. And yesterday a possum came to her little food pile, and she took a picture of it, and she said, "What should I do?" I said, "Just nothing. I mean, it's a door." It was so cute. It had this I know it's a rodent and it can carry rabies, but she was inside, and it was fluffy, and it was just so cute. So we love all animals, and how awesome that you gave a home to these lovely little creatures.
they light up my life in the evening. And I like to say,
Oh,
we have here's the cover. Is that working? All right. My
oh,
latest spec comes
beautiful.
back on. Wow. Oh,
Is that
okay.
Ginger?
That who is this? Oh gosh, I forget who this is. This doggy is from she, she's from a professional kennel out in California. They let me use one of their bullies.
Oh, well,
No,
that's
Ginger is
awesome.
not on one of the covers, but I say that no dogs are harmed in the writing of my novels. I can't say the same for
Oh,
people.
I love that so much. That's beautiful.
Oh
That's
my God.
awesome.
This is like the most fun interview ever, ever. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, writing is one of my favorite topics ever. So when my sister said I should interview the winners of our short story contest, I was all over it. So, Jill, I'm so honored and delighted that you joined me today. Can you please let our viewers know where they can find you and your amazing range of work?
Oh, okay. So I have anyway, the film's Tainted Blood is available on Amazon Prime. Broken Trust through the Kanopy, Kanopy, which is a streaming platform that is available. Most public libraries subscribe to it. So if you have a library card, you're paid up with your library fines, you can you can stream Broken Trust. Both of my books, Murder in the Dog Park and Dog Spelled Backwards, are available on Amazon in hardcover and ebook.
Mhm.
And just find me on the socials. I'm there, Jill Yesko.
Mhm.
I'm on Goodreads as well.
Oh, great. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm a
Awesome.
Goodreads author, so you'll find me
Oh,
there.
that's super fun. I bet your readers really love connecting with you.
So, yeah,
That's
sometimes.
that's cool. And where are you on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook. So my I have a I have a Murder in the Dog Park Facebook page, and there are separate Facebook pages for Broken Trust and for Tainted Blood. But if you just Google Jill Yesko on any of the search engines, usually
Mhm.
everything comes up, and you can see the trailers on Vimeo and YouTube.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I saw the YouTube one, so I'll have to check out Vimeo. And I must say that your background is just spectacular. That is gorgeous.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
It's a silk tapestry from the Silk Museum in Lyon, France.
Ooh, it's
Oh, right.
gorgeous. Is it backlit or do you have light on it or are those just the colors?
It's just my Zoom. It's my Zoom background. That's why things look a little pixelated. Right.
Oh, it doesn't even look like a Zoom background until you move, but it has like it looks like it's backlit or something. I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's like rich.
It was just yeah. It was a part of a JPEG that I took at the museum. Yes, yes, yes. I think
It's,
it does. It makes me happy. It makes I don't know, add some levity to Zoom, you know.
I know, right? Yes, there.
We need it. It's January.
I know it's January, there's a pandemic, but as creatives, a lot of the creatives I know are thriving right now because the isolation is tough. But for me, I'm literally working around the clock and I'm loving it. I wish, I don't have to sleep, but I still do. Like Saturday night, I pulled an all-nighter working on a book.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know, right? Like I used to do in college, but you can't do that all the time. It's not healthy. But it's the energy. It's like, oh my gosh, I have all this time I can write and I can do this and our shows and our channel. And it's really exciting. And all of our short story contests, we've expanded and we're having more anthologies. And we're just, like you said, we support writers at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and that's our mission.
We
So
do, and it's much appreciated and much needed. We all the creatives need to support each other across genres.
yes, yes, because
Yeah.
it's a special calling and it's a special drive. Like it's passion and writers don't retire. Writers just write.
Yeah. I mean, the stories never end, so
No.
that's a blessing, as they say.
It is. It is, Jill. I'm so delighted to talk with you today.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome. So, I'll put all the information about your content and your where to reach you and find your materials in the description box so people can connect with you and watch your documentaries and read your books.
Great. I look
Mhm.
forward to it. And
Okay.
yeah, thank you again, and thanks to my friend Linda Lenhoff, who was the one who recommended that I submit the story.
Oh,
Linda,
okay.
I know Linda's been in at least one of your anthologies.
Yeah. Excellent, Jill. Well, I wish you the absolute best in health, in happy writing, and I hope you have a really wonderful 2021 in the context of what's going on right now.
And you as well, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thanks, Jill. And thank you, all of you, for joining me and Jill Yesko tonight on Writer Talks, where you get to meet the winners of the short story contests here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. And I'm also going to put a link to the anthology that Jill's story appears in, so you can read that as well. And we wish you happy writing and happy reading. We'll see you next time.